What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to a new video, and today I'm going to talk about a fishing rod I had to grind so much for as well. So as you guys know, I do have the Asher Hook rod that you need to get level 2500 for, but right before the level 2500 mark at level 2000 there was another fishing rod, and that fishing rod is called the Fang of the Eclipse. I'm going to be honest with you guys, the last thing I remember about this fishing rod, it wasn't a good time. If I can remember correctly, it was just not a good fishing rod at all to use, because it turns out there was much weaker fishing rods that made you more money and more XP. So to make this fishing rod the level 2000 reward never made any sense to me. But on the other hand, so much time has passed by, so now you never know, it could be better. And the other way to find out if it's better, we have to test it out. You know what? I'm gonna show the stats right now, but keep it in mind, this fishing rod has two different versions. The fishing rod actually gains power during the Eclipse totem, hence why it's called Fang of the Eclipse. And with the Eclipse totem, the stats change like crazy, you'll see. So the regular Fang of the Eclipse, you have a alert rate of 80%, luck of 80%, a control of 0.15, resilience of 20%, a max weight 25,000 kilograms. And you're probably looking at this and like, what? That's a level 2000 fishing rod? Yes, it is. And even the passive on it is not that great either. This fishing rod has a 10% chance to grant the player the Solar Blaze mutation that gives you a 2.5 times multiplier. And honestly, 10% chance for a low multiplier is kind of crazy. You're not gonna make that much money, I just know it. But on the other hand, if you use the Eclipse totem, you're gonna make so much more money. With the Eclipse totem, the stats and passive change completely. Once you trigger that Eclipse totem, you have a alert rate of 179%, a luck of 230%. 230% is kind of crazy actually, it's really high. But then it gets a little bit worse, you have a control of negative 0.2, which is really bad. And then after, resilience of minus 30% and a max weight infinite. So as you can see, the control bar and the resilience is really bad. But on the other hand, look at the passive. So when the Solar Eclipse is active, you get three different passives. The first one grants the player a 10% chance for the Umbra mutation, remaining 90% will be Solar Blaze. And the second one guarantees the player to multiply a fish by 20%. I'm gonna be honest, the second one makes you so much more money. And for the last passive, grants the player a 15% chance to double a caught fish. There's also a 5% chance to triple it, and the remaining 80% gives you the singular fish. I'm telling you right now, this passive works on relics. So if you happen to get an enchant relic or exalted relic, it will triple or double it. Which, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty rare to do, but you know what? It's really nice when you do get it. In my own experience, I've seen it happen before, and it's really nice to see. Now, even though the passive abilities are really good, the stats are actually not that great, because keep in mind the control and resilience are in the negatives. So because those two are in the negatives, there's not that many enchantments we could use. Like, I mean, in a perfect world, I want to use the Blessed Song enchantment or the Sea Overlord enchantment, and either one of those is going to make us so much more money. Especially, like I said before, it guarantees a size buff of 20%. So basically, if you want this to work, there's only two enchantments you could use, and those enchantments are going to be the Herculean or controlled enchantments. So with the Solar Eclipse active, that fisher was going to have a -2 control bar, but with the Herculean enchantment is going to bring it to 0. And I'm telling you right now, that makes a really big difference. But I'm going to be honest, for this example, I'm going to be using the control enchantment, and that's only because I don't think it's worth using the exalted relic on this fishing rod. And if you really think about it, the control enchantment is not that bad. It gives you a 0.15 control bar boost, so we're going to have only a -0.5 control bar. And I'm going to be honest, it's pretty small, but you know what, it's going to work for us. But I just know if we try to catch an exotic or secret fish, you might stand no chance. This fishing rod does have a 230% luck with the Eclipse totem active, so we do have a chance to get some secret fish. And most likely, I'm gonna go to the Castaway Cliffs to fish there because it's a really good fishing spot. And honestly, if I go there and I make no money, it says a lot about this fishing rod. But real quick, we gotta talk about bait. The bait I'm gonna use for this fishing rod is gonna be the Luminous Larva. And this bait is so good for this fishing rod, it gives you a 50% more resilience. And I'm telling you right now, you're gonna need that for the long run. So it brings our -30% resilience up to 20%, which I mean is not that great, but you know what, it's way better than the negatives. If you try to fish with a -30% resilience, you're gonna fail every single time. Especially if you get an exotic or secret fish, you have no chance, I'm telling you right now. And even with the Luminous Larva, you might fail a lot of secret and exotic fish. And trust me, I looked at every single bait in the game to try to see which is the best one for this fishing rod, and I don't think there's another bait that's as good or even better. The only one I think that could be kind of decent could be the Slug, because that one does give you universal luck of 100% and resilience of 60%. The only problem is you don't get that many because you have to get them from the personal aquarium, and that could take you a very long time, but I don't think it's worth it. I mean, the 10% extra could help you, but all that for this fishing rod, I don't think you should do it. There is one really good bait you could use for it, but the only problem is it's no longer in the game, and that bait was going to be the Meteor bait from the Meteorologist, and that bait gives you a universal luck of 65% and a resilience of 100%, and with that 100% you could have easily farmed with the Solar Eclipse, but even then I still don't think it's worth doing all that. So in the end, I'm gonna go with the luminous larva. And to be honest, if you guys know a really good bait that I'm missing, just let me know. Because I'm gonna be honest, I'm looking at this list right now and I don't see anything really that much better. Even the golden worm you get from the personal aquarium can't even help you. So exotic baits are basically out of the question. Unless in the future we get a bait that gives you 100 to 150% more resilience. And even then, I still don't think I'm gonna use this fishing rod. But now before I start fishing, there's two more problems. For this to work efficiently, we have to use the Aurora Totem and Eclipse Totem. And as you guys know, for this fishing rod, it could be very expensive to use. And yes, I know I could go to a public server to try to use one for free, but you'll never find a server with somebody using Eclipse Totems. Because I mean, if you really think about it, they have no reason to use one, unless I'm missing something. On the other hand, for the Aurora Totem, we could use it for free in the public server. The place I'm gonna go to is right now the best fishing spot in the game is gonna be the Castaway Cliffs. So the first one's gonna be the regular fishing rod with the Aurora Totem. And to be honest, I'm not really expecting that much. But once I'm done, I'll be right back and show you guys what I found. Yeah, well, as expected, it went pretty bad. So on average, with the Fang of the Eclipse without the boost, is gonna give you $840,000 an hour. And also keep it in mind that Aurora Totem does cost $500,000 each. So to get it for the full hour is gonna cost you $2 million. And as you can see, in total, you're gonna lose at least $1.2 million every single time. And of course, if you want, you could go to a public server, but I'm just doing it for comparison. Because even then, why would you use this fishing rod at all? And now for the second test, we're gonna try out the boosted version of the Fang of the Eclipse. And basically use the Eclipse Totem to trigger it. So when I come back, I'm gonna tell you guys what I found and hopefully something way better. Yeah, let's just say this level 2000 fishing rod was not worth it at all. So in the end, on average, I made $2.3 million an hour. But also keep it in mind, you have to buy 4 Eclipse Totems every single hour. And that would basically cost you at least $1 million every single hour. So I guess in the end, on profit, you could make $1.3 million, which is not that bad actually. But once again, making that much money with a level 2000 fishing rod, I don't know about that. I just feel like for the most part, this fishing rod is something you use for a trophy rather than you actually use it for fishing. Because there's more fishing rods that make you more money in XP and it take way less effort to get. But I guess the good thing about it, you can't get this fishing rod anymore, so I guess everybody wins somehow. Well, I didn't for sure because I had to waste so many hours to get it. You know what's crazy though? Most of the money I made from these hours was fish underneath the mythical one. So if we had more resilience and more control, we could make a lot more money. Because trying to catch the exotic or secret fish was nearly impossible. I'm not gonna lie, it was shaking a lot. Maybe because I haven't fished in a while, so I'm not used to it anymore, but I'm telling you right now, it's pretty difficult. So unless we get a bait that gives us more resilience and an enchantment that gives us more control bar, I don't think this fishing rod has a future. Because if they give us the bait and enchantment, it's gonna make other fishing rods even stronger. And at that point, this fishing rod has no point in being used at all. And also, why would they buff it? Because you can no longer get it. The only way they could buff it is if you know people complain about it, but I highly doubt it. Because if you got to level 2000, most likely you have the Astro Hook rod by now. So in the end, this fishing rod is not worth it at all, and it took me so long to get. So I guess in the end, you guys are the lucky ones for not getting it. But for the most part, to look out for today. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.